Okay guys, this is actually for teachers, but I'm going to go through, and this was actually a lesson that I did with a third grade class a couple of years ago on identifying transition words. So I'm actually showing you this so that you'll kind of see basically how to work this into your 5E lesson plan. Now, I did want to go ahead and clear up a couple of misconceptions about the 5E lesson plan as I come here. This is the template that you're working on. So something that's really important to remember is that these are recommendations across the top. You won't always be able to get through all 5 E's in a day. Someday you'll spend a lot of time on extending or explaining. Some days will just be exploring. So consider these recommendations and not necessarily a recipe to follow. Or if we use that analogy of a recipe, this isn't like baking where you have to be precise in terms of having to include all of these elements, because to be honest with you, some days you're just going to evaluate. Some days you're just going to explain. It doesn't work like you go through all 5 E's every single day. Sorry guys, I had to pause for a second there. As I was saying, you don't have to get through all 5 E's every single day. The truth is that a true 5E lesson plan is pages and pages long sometimes, and I don't think that's a friendly document to be able to use with students. And you guys can see that I have just been working on an example to be able to show you, so it's not perfect yet. So let's just pretend that Monday, this is again for a third grade class, I've got a little video for them to watch here on transition words, and that's what we're working on. We're working on transition words. Students will be able to identify and use appropriate transitions in their writing. The link here, these are the instructions. I might put a little bullet here for students to be able to know exactly what I'm asking them to do. Okay, and then the link to the videos here. Okay, perfect. So organization is going to be a big deal for students. Just you want to make it as linear as possible. And I do not want you to do 2 lesson plans. Please do not do that. Please just do a lesson plan that has the things in it that we need, but that is student facing. I do not want you guys to do double work for me or anybody else. So let's kind of walk through this again. So they'll watch this video as the opener. I'm not actually going to be teaching this particular class on Monday. Let's just pretend that Monday is my asynchronous day. So this is an async day. So kids are going to practice on their own, and I might even put these activities will be completed without teacher. Okay, so here we go, and then we're going to get into this work session. Now, ideally, I'm going to have this PowerPoint uploaded for students, so I might even put here, watch Mrs. Williams PowerPoint presentation. Okay. And the link to that video is going to be here. So let me come here, and this is actually this was a Write Score lesson that I did with students. It was on transitions. I like to start with, and this might not be a place that you can start from the top, okay? But I always like to explain to kids why I want them to do this. This is without naming any students. This just shows that this is what we did on our Right Score assessment, see, we really struggled, guys, with transitions. That was really hard for us. So let's go through and make sure that we really understand what a transition is. Now, obviously, this was designed for a class where they got to turn and talk. So they can't do that now. So, but there is another way that you can get that participation in with them, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So for now, what do you know about transition words? What did you learn from the video? There was a great metaphor in that video. What did the lady call transition words? That's right, she called it the glue that keeps your writing together. And this gives you even more information about transition words. Let me move my screen here so you can see a little better. So what are transition words, guys? Transition words or signal words are words that help to organize a story. Transition words or signal words help stories make sense. They help the reader to keep track of the sequence of events, when things are happening in the story, and even changes in setting within the story. Why do authors use signal words or transition words? To help the reader notice when there's a change in time or place, and to organize the sequence of events. So today's task, we're going to identify signal words and phrases within familiar texts. Now, the brilliance of Right Score here, this is a teacher's side note, is that they actually went through and they used the low grade level like stories for kids. So I think we had a Curious George story, and because it's not about the content of the story, it's about identifying the signal words, and this was actually really fun. We had a great time with this lesson. But even in a virtual setting, you can still do that, the I do, we do, you do format. All right, so here's our graphic organizer. And the book that we're going to use is called A Mother for Choco. And let's read this together. A Mother for Choco. Choco was a little bird who lived all alone. He wished he had a mother, but one day, first, and I actually read that whole section to the students, the entire book. That I just found. I found the PDF for it. Oh, Mrs. Giraffe, he cried, but I don't have wings like you. Next, Choco met Mrs. Penguin. And so then what we did here is we went through and we talked about those signal words. Okay, guys, what signal words did we all see? Well, let's come back here. What's a signal word? Remember, a signal word does what? It helps us notice when there's a change in the time or the place. So what are the signal words? One day is a great signal word. We've got first, and then we've got next. That helps us know the sequence when things are happening, and we filled that in. All right, now let's read corduroy. And so we went through that one, and we showed the transitions there. Junkyard Wonders, you can do the same thing. Show the transitions there. Now it's your turn. Now, you probably could not have them partner up, but you could give them a story that maybe you find a PDF for or even a video, and have them try to write down the transitions that they see, and then open up a Padlet for them to share those ideas. So, what were the signal words? Okay, so I'm going to go to, and y'all, this is live TV, so be really forgiving of me here. I'm going to try to open up my Padlet. Oh, look at me. I'm going to make a Padlet. I don't know why it's giving me this. That's fine. Yeah, I don't want to pay for anything, Padlet. Go back. What did I do wrong? Have I reached my limit? Let's see what we got going on here. My fierce wall. I don't know. So this is my transitions lesson. Share the transitions in your story. Include the title and the transition words you found. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put this here. You guys are going to make these look a little bit better than mine. I'm just kind of doing this for now. And I'm going to give an example. Let me go back and see what the transition words were. One morning late that evening and suddenly. Okay. Suddenly. And so that way we could all kind of share, and then they could type in based on the books you assigned them. Now you could, I would assign people maybe different books, maybe a different book for each couple of kids just so that they don't copy off of each other. Or you could make it so that they submit it but they don't see each other's remarks to start with, so that will encourage them. If I want to share this out, I'm just going to get a link or a QR code, copy the link, and then I can embed this right into my lesson plan. So let me come here. To watch my PowerPoint presentation, read the story, signed, and I might even have a link here that will take them to the stories or whatever, but that's kind of up to you. If you're going to do it individually, then that might not be ideal. You could add a slide telling the different students what books you want them to pull from. Just make sure that they have access to those books. And usually you can find read alouds where they show the book on YouTube or whatever. Because remember, you're not asking them to read anything on grade level. You really are just looking for the piece where they can identify those transitions. Okay. Okay, so there you go. All right, and then for their closing, let's go through. Of course, we did Menti.com. What do you know about transitions? Use individual words to describe a transition. Let me go to my Menti to show you how to use that. It's called Mentimeter, and I think I've used it in PLCs before. I'm hoping this won't take us to 2 videos, but I think it will because it only gives me 15 minutes to record, and I'm a little bit over. Okay, let me do this. I'll just do a part 2 if I go over, and I think I will. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Transitions. Ha ha ha. Right here. Transitions. This was a while ago. What are transition words? This was one that they did for us, and what it does is that it gave us this word cloud. So I had them type in the question, what are transition words? You can share whatever link that is. Ask them to put in